All right, guys. One of these days, I think I'm going to come out with a video that's sort of like the wish list that I have for each of these games that I'm playing. There are a couple of things that I do kind of wish were a little bit different. I'll tell you though, when it comes to NP3, there's one thing in particular that I wish I could change. Let's go take a look here, and I'll show you kind of what happens. So this is the master spreadsheet that I have with all the games played and stuff like that. I guess I can make this two things I wish I could do. First of all, I wish that I could go into NP3 and change the schedule around so I didn't have to have this, right? So I could use the game itself to use this, or at least I wish I could choose to play with the as scheduled schedule instead of the as played schedule. And the second thing is I really wish I could have an automatic transaction system. I mean, this isn't so bad, but I had to go through this homebrew Diamond Mine season to go find all of these transactions. I probably shouldn't have done it like that. I probably should be using original newspapers and doing like a bunch of research. But I had put off starting this replay for a while back in those days, and I didn't really want to continue to put that off. I thought, I need to get this done. Let's go try this project. Let's see what happens. I'm happy that I just went ahead and started it. We'll worry about doing it perfect some time later. The transaction we need to make here, we'll do it by hand, is with the Giants. It's DeVore who will go down. Josh DeVore, who in real life played 5 games, had 2 defensive games. I think that his chances are done. I don't think that he's done anything in the replay. I mean, we could see. Let me add on here a third one. I wish I could see what the guy's stats are from here because I can't do anything, right? I can go over here and I can check this out on this list. And here is DeVore, who, he played in 1 game, had 5 plate appearances, 4 at-bats. So for some reason, we started him once. I'm not quite sure why that happened, but or maybe he came in because someone was injured or something like that. I think this is the end of his career. He's going to end hitting 250. 400 on base percentage, 250 long base or slugging percentage. If it's not the end of his career, I'm pretty sure it's the end at least of his 1908 season. But like I said, it would be nice if this transaction system was a little bit easier. It would be nice if people like me in the community could come up with a more, a full system of transactions, because the ones listed here, this is what I downloaded from the NP3 forums. This is nowhere near enough. I mean, there's missing a lot, including Honus Wagner and his not only his time out at the beginning of the season, but occasionally he did miss games from time to time for a variety of reasons, ailments, and just being sort of a little bit old. He still had a number of seasons to go. But it would be nice if it were easier for this to happen. The other thing I really wish, as I mentioned before, is that this could be changed. I mean, all of this comes from RetroSheet. This is nice because you can mark off when the game was played, and it'll give you the game number count, right? So you can look through this and be like, oh, wow, I just played game. What have I played? I've played like 200 something or other. I mean, it would be nice if I could go in and if I could like just have this work automatically. Unfortunately, while it is cool to use the starting lineups from real life, if you're getting really if you're really immersed in the replay, if it's going to be something engaging, you can't just rely on the real life lineups. You have to start thinking about it and doing what the manager would do in actuality and all this other stuff. Now, do I actually do that? Not really. I mean, I've taken a couple shortcuts, at least so far here in this replay, to make it a little bit easier, because that requires a lot of time, a lot of thought before every game. And if you're playing, 1,200, 1,300 or so of these games, that's a lot of thinking to do. It takes a little while, and that can be overwhelming if you're not careful. But it would be nice to at least have the option to do that and have the option of playing not the actual games played, but the original schedule. And the third thing I'll add to this, and I'll make this short, is it would be nice to have some sort of fatigue system. As it stands now, I mean, I have the lineup screen. I'll show you here my, I think I closed it here. Let's see if I can get my lineup file back. There we go. And see this thing's acting up again. Let's see if I can sort of trick this here. I have problems from time to time. There we go. For whatever reason, VirtualBox sometimes doesn't allow this thing to be on top. But here you go. This is the lineup thing that I have for each team. So I go through after every Sunday's games are complete, and I'll go back through the lineups and make changes according to how guys are hitting and decide, are we going to start this guy anymore or not. I do that once a week because if I'm going to do that before every single game, it's going to take me forever just to get to play. At some point in time, you realize that, like, it's just exhausting. and we're going to just use a pattern, and it's going to be the way that it is. I'll set up the pitching rotation as well, and usually I'll just use the same 4 pitchers. Again, this isn't exactly according to real life, but I mean, you can see what the guy's grade is in Skeetersoft. You probably want to pitch the guys who are going to pitch better. I know that this is probably part of the reason why, I can't remember which league it is, but one of the leagues has an ERA that's too low. Batted against average is too low. I do think it'll come out in the wash in the end. But I mean, you have to do something to make the replay playable. It's really difficult to find a guy who had 2 starts as a pitcher and be like, I know exactly where I'm going to start him, right? So anyway, that's sort of the thing that I do here with this. But when it comes to fatigue, I mean, you can see here, I just have like a couple substitution things I kind of throw in. It'll be different for different teams. So you can see that with the Boston Doves, I was more excited, and I have Hannafin or Bowerman in each and every one of these games to try to get a better balance, right? When it comes to the end of this, when I was done putting this together for the Senators, I was like, I'm just done. The part of the thing that's difficult about this system I've devised is that I have to figure out when the rest day is, and the only way I have to do that is from this, which, as you can see, is not exactly the best spreadsheet in the world for the purpose of making that other lineup decision. So I have to, at some point in time, decide, what it is I'm going to do, if I'm going to change this or not, and if there isn't a system that might work a little bit better for these purposes. Again, I mean, NP3 is a very good game in terms of like what it is capable of doing. But there are some problems that I have and some concerns that I have with the game. And there are a couple of little things I think that could be put in to make it a little bit easier on the replayer, right? Because as it stands right now, if you're going to do a serious replay project with this game, not just use RetroSheet lineups, but if you're going to do them all yourself, it's a hassle and it's a problem. I'll tell you one of the problems here. One of the problems here is that when we go to the starting lineup screen, guess what we can't see? We can't see the player's stats anywhere. There's no option, period, to see anybody's stats. I can see the batting card. I can't see what he's hitting, though, in the replay. What do I have to do to do that? I have to go over here to the stats. Here I can look at them team by team, but guess what? I can't look at OPS. The only way I can do that is to send all these stats to Excel. And of course, the problem is, for whatever reason, in VirtualBox, when I try to do this, I end up getting corruption. I'll show you right here. See, so this doesn't show me anything. I have to go back and look at the file itself and open it up with something that's not Excel, because Excel here, for whatever reason, has died on me. I mean, it turns into like a pretty big chore to get this done, right? The lineups in so doing the weekly lineups in Diamond Mine will take me maybe like 20 minutes max. Doing them in NP3 takes me at least an hour every single time, because I have to create OPS. I have to be careful that I figure out who actually is a starter and who's not, so I don't take some guy who had like 2 games in real life and turn him into a starter. We don't really want to do that if we can avoid it, right? It ends up being kind of messy, right? That's the problem. It would be nice if it were a little bit easier, right? It would be nice if this were created in software that allowed me to view it full screen. It would be nice if I could look at both the replay stats and the real life stats at the same time, right? I mean, to be honest with you, there are a lot of these statistics that don't matter to me, right? Like intentional walks, hit by pitch, sacrifice hits, sacrifice flies. I don't necessarily want to see that. I would much rather see what did the guy do in real life and how can I compare them. But here, guess what? I can't look at his player card. If I want to look at his player card, I got to go back to the starting lineup. Then I can look at the card, but then I can't look at the stats. I think you can see sort of what I'm talking about here. Anyways, this video is a little bit longer than I kind of wanted it to be, but that's really where the problem is here. There are a couple of these little things where if it were fixed in this game, it would be a lot easier for the replayer to go through. Again, I mean, we could always just do the RetroSheet thing where we're using the real life lineups and we don't care about any of this stuff, but I would argue that a replayer who really cares about the project and who's invested in it is going to want to do more than just use RetroSheet lineups. At least that's my feeling. You might disagree though, and if you do, let me know down below. Anyway, that's it for me. Talk to you later. Bye.